First of all, I want to thank everybody who's been supporting us so far. I've been looking at all of the comments and all the retweets and everything, all the kind words. They've been received really well, and I appreciate it. It's given me energy to continue going. I really appreciate the support. But our next guest, he was a top 3 finisher at Summer Jam 2017. He's an ex-Dudley, ex-Remy, front-running Ken player who now using his decade-long veteranship to dominate the very top of the PSN leaderboards. You can find him online as ZeroCounter or offline as The Rage. Please welcome to the pod, The Rage. How you doing, bro?
Yo, what's good?
How's everything?
Everything's going good. You know, it's a nice weekend. The weather was good. The weather kind of held up today.
Yeah, it's kind of cold, right? It's kind of cold in New York City.
Yeah, it was good yesterday, but today was kind of rainy. But whatever, it's a good day to stay inside and play Third Strike.
Now, I see you dominating. The leaderboards on the 30th anniversary collection. How are you managing to do that?
I wouldn't say it's dominating. I'm just playing my game. You know, if you look at the wins and the amount of games played to wins, you know, I do have my fair share of losses. You know, so I you know, it's not like I don't lose. You know, and there's a lot of good players on there that I do lose too.
I mean, I'm just amazed that you can find the games at all, because it's really time dependent for me. Like if I play after like 7 or 8, I'll just get like linked out to a bunch of West Coast players, and like it's like unplayable for me.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure it out also. I don't really know, but I think as, you know, the time goes on, there's like less and less players playing in ranked, so it's getting harder to find matches. But when I first started playing, like I could get matches like very quickly.
Super easy, right?
Yeah, but now it is becoming harder.
But I think it also has to do with your rank, right? Like you're like they try to like match you based on like the rank of the opponent. So maybe because you're so high up, there's only so many people that have like those black belts. So maybe
that could be it also. Yeah, I honestly do think like this system, it's still like kind of broken, and I don't think they can ever have a perfect ranking system. But like, I feel like they are trying with this. Like you could lose to an opponent, and you'll also lose points. You know, so I feel like that's good. And then, you know, they have this like the belt system, how you can like upgrade. But you know, and I guess like when you drop or like when you lose connection, like you don't take a loss for it. I guess it just stays status quo, but like other players can abuse that also. You'll see people with like a perfect win ratio, like, you know, I don't care who you are, that's just impossible, bro.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. Like, like it doesn't matter what character you're playing, what person, like you're gonna lose eventually.
Yeah,
it's just the nature of the game.
You know, no matter where somebody is in the ranking system or the ranking board, you can always look at how many games they played and how many games they actually won. And that is a good determination of how good they really are.
Right.
Know?
And not just like that they play so much that like the law of averages is going to come into account and they're just going to end up winning some games eventually, right? Just because they play so goddamn much.
Exactly. You'll see somebody out there with like 600 wins and like 300 like lost like wins. I mean, they played like 600 matches and have 300 wins.
Right.
So that means they lost like 300 matches. So like, you know, you'd be like, okay, whatever. You just play the game a lot. But
I mean, how are you liking it so far though?
You know, it's mixed reviews. Like I like it. You know, it's like the actual game itself. I do like. I feel it is a step in the right direction from OE. It's just like the monitors, which I feel is like everyone's concern. Like the monitors, you know, they do add lag. Yeah. But you know, it's just it's not that much lag because like the setup that I have, like it's minimal.
So what are you running it on? Because I'm running it on like the older Evo Asus model, and it feels like training mode's really good. Like like the other day I did like 100 car short use in like around 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So like it wasn't too bad, you know. It was like I feel like the offline training mode is like amazing. Like it feels like arcade.
Yeah, it does feel good, like the speed. And even if you like record matches and then you watch it back again, you can actually see the game speed, and it does look slower than recorded OE matches.
Yeah.
But in terms of like playing it, like it's like the setup that I use. It's I have a 2017 BenQ monitor.
Okay.
I think that's what they might be using for like Evo,
that's the Evo monitor.
And the Capcom whatever tours they be doing. I think that's what they use. And then I have a HRAP Premium, the PS3 version with a Brooks PSP board.
Damn, you're optimal over there, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty nice. But I had this arcade stick set up from OE. Like, you know, when I realized that, you know, to really compete with these top guys that's been playing arcade for a long time, you need to get the arcade yourself, or get as close to it as possible.
Right.
You know. So I opted for Xbox OE with CRT and you know, a good modded stick.
I mean that was like the best setup for a while, wasn't it? Xbox with a CRT monitor. I personally never been able to play on that. I've always played on like the Asus monitors. So I don't even know what CRT like offline 3S
really feels like.
Feels like, you know, I like, unless I go to the arcade, right? Unless we go to IFM, that's like the only like arcade type practice that we get. But like even when I practice on like 30th anniversary, it just feels so good. Like I don't know if you remember, but when like last time we played, or that I played Makoto and OE, like I couldn't like land any 100% stun combos. It's just hard.
Yeah,
it's just way harder. But today was like way more consistent, and I think that for that, at least just for practicing, you know, with people with good connection, with like people that you have good connection with, this game has been pretty good. But the Steam version is way better than the PS4 version.
Yeah. And now I haven't played, so I was going to ask you, what is it? Is it like the connections, or is it like the game speed is slower?
Personally, I didn't really sense any like differences in the game speed itself, but just the connections are just more stable. Like I was at Mutants and we were playing online for a while, and it like we were playing some like against other like Steam users, and it didn't feel bad at all. Like we were playing people from Texas, and it felt really good. I don't think I would be able to do something like that here. So like try to play somebody from Texas. Like I tried playing Mexi the other time. What was it? I think it was yesterday. I tried playing him, and it was just unplayable.
And this was on Steam or PS4?
PS4.
Yeah. See, like I've like the reason why I've like shot up to the leaderboards, it wasn't intentional.
It's because you're God.
And no, it's just because like I wanted to test the game before I made any like rash comments about the game or anything. I wanted to really put it through its paces. So going to like a casual match or something, I didn't like, you know, we'll probably get to that later, but that's one of the things that I didn't like about the game was how you know, the lobbies are. You know, you can go in and you can choose from any of the games, and if somebody doesn't want to play Third Strike, they want to play Street Fighter Turbo 2 or whatever, it's too much bullshit. I just want to fucking play Third Strike. So if you go to ranked match and you just do Third Strike, you're going to get somebody who just wants to do Third Strike. So it was the easiest, fastest way to play.
Right. So let's just get into it then. Capcom, thank you, Capcom. They already announced a patch for 30th anniversary collection. Now, obviously, no details has been provided by them so far. But what would you like to see? What would you like to see?
For one, I'd like to see a way to filter, you know, matchmaking, like so that way you can get like regions or a specific type of ping, like, you know, good connections. certain regions, like how they did basically OE. So, your likelihood of finding a smoother connection will be increased.
Right.
And then on top of that, like, just, I don't know about the 8-man lobbies, but yeah, I think I would like to see 8-man lobbies. Also, an option to like kick people. The host can like get someone out of a room.
Mm-hmm. Anything offline?
Offline, probably an option to turn off VSync. Because I think I was reading, and I think some games for the PS4, like non-fighting game related, gives you an option to turn off VSync.
See, I don't know anything about that, but that would be really nice, because that's one of the advantages to Steam, is that you're able to shut off VSync, and then like it becomes smoother. Yeah, there's less input lag.
Yeah, so apparently that is an option for other games with PS4, so if they could find a way to implement that, and still have it run stable as Steam, that would be good.
Mm-hmm. Now for me, right, practice, like training mode, I need save state. Like
that's huge.
It's a fucking grind, dude. Like having to like, if you're trying to practice something mid screen and then you put them in the corner, you have to like back throw them, and then I don't know. It's just something that I don't want to think about when I'm in training mode. Like there are certain things where you just get into like a flow, and like I've been turning on OE to practice specific things in training mode that like with the save state, that makes it just a lot easier. Like with with Makoto, right? Like if you want to practice like the 100% stun, like you can just do, like you can do like the command throw, and then you could do the super, like the hit confirm into super, and then you just save state like right when you have to dash and do the Kara, so that like you'd be able to like get more repetitions in, right? Because you just do it. Same thing with like practicing ambiguous setups with Ken. Like you would just like save. You would just like use like the save state for right when like the super ends, and then you could just load it up every time. So then you're like right there, and then you could just like practice like your setups that way. So that's just
that was huge.
Yeah, it's just been a grind. Like training mode has been like more trouble than you'd want it to be. Because OE just made it so fucking easy, for you to just be able to practice little things like that and like get a bunch of like repetitions in. So hopefully that's something that they look at. The 8-man lobbies for me, I think, is a big thing, just because like you want to be able to like play a lot of people, right? Like you want to just be able to have like kind of like a cipher going on, like where everybody's just trying to stay on. Like with that 4-man lobby, like even though when I played on OE, I would like kind of aim for 4-man lobbies, like having the option for 8-man lobby is like really good, because then like let's say like you just want to be like AFK for a while, like you could just do that and have like a rotation go, and it'll be like 20 minutes like before you actually play again. So it just I don't know, it just added like that option to just be able to like watch people play for a while. But I mean, I think they've done a pretty good job like of it so far. Yeah, so you were talking about, what were you saying just now?
Oh yeah, it being the patches. So like, a lot of people were they were complaining about like 30th, right? Yeah. But it was the same thing for OE when it came out. Like, there was a lot of things that were wrong with it. Like, people would the match would start and the fucking characters would swap outfits and the colors and shit would be all fucked up. Like,
I remember that.
Yeah, like there's a lot of stuff that they had to patch and like fix with the game, and it's the same thing for like 30th. Like, it's like 50-50. Like Capcom shot themselves in the foot with saying that it will be arcade perfect, and they sold everyone. They sold not everyone, because a lot of like the original and like the true Third Strike players, they know that it will never be arcade perfect on console. But everybody else,
I mean, you would think hopeful that people would know, right? Like you would hope that people would know that. But like, I think people, they just want to bitch about anything.
Yeah, that's true.
like there were people that were around for OE that actually had that expectation like with this game, and then all they want to do is just play it and then nitpick and then like they'll bitch. So it's like, I don't know, you can't please everybody. Like I think it was pretty good for like a first for basically like we've been playing the beta, you know what I mean? Like
yeah, exactly. We're
like,
playing like the test version, like
like I don't know what people expected, but I mean it's
right.
pretty good for what it was, right? Like like now you have a bunch of tournaments like coming up and people are gonna, like tournament organizers are throwing 30th anniversary collection there. So now you have like just coming up we got DTN.
Exactly.
And Andy just posted that Canada Cup is sort of sponsoring that tournament. So like the highest placing non-sponsored player is gonna get like a full ride to Canada Cup.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. You gonna be gunning for that?
I'm gunning all the time. Am I gonna get it? No, I'm not there yet. But I'm definitely going. I was going regardless.
Yeah.
And that was my main reason for getting a PS4, because I knew this was gonna happen. Because look at OE, right?
Yeah.
Some people say like OE runs better on Xbox than does PSN, especially like online. And you gotta think about it, like Xbox is like a mini computer.
Right.
PSN is just like, kind of like it's trying to emulate that. So I kind of knew that, probably Xbox One probably runs it better than PS4. But like with it being released on Steam, I knew Steam would probably be the better version. And, people will be able to like, hack the ROM and put in like extra features or do whatever. Like, there's crazy people out there.
Yeah.
So I knew Steam was probably going to be the better option, but I still went with PS4 first because I like to play offline, and I knew that they would have tournaments for it. So I wanted to be prepared for the tournaments because, I'm an online player second and offline first.
Right.
So
right, that's true. Not everybody's priorities kind of line up that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you made the better choice because now like you're gonna get people who are playing 3S on like this optimized like rig, that they're used to, and then when they go to a tournament, it might not be exactly that, and then it might fuck them up.
Yeah, I tried to get it. When I had my setup in mind, I was like, okay, if I go to an event, what would they use? PS4, and if it's Capcom sponsored or something, they might be on a BenQ.
Right, exactly.
And then we have the option of what sticks we want to use.
Right, at the very least. So, like, at least that won't be a problem.
Yeah.
Now, do you feel a difference with that board that you got?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Definitely. Big time.
Sorry.
Because, so, like, I went to IFM. It was, when was it? Saturday, right? No, Friday. I went on Friday. And they have a setup there. And there's something about it that like felt kind of like laggy to me.
Okay.
And it didn't feel as like smooth as like the setup that I have here at my house. So,
yeah.
I was drinking a little bit, maybe a little bit more than I should have.
No, it's never too much.
It usually always ends up happening. Yeah. So then, what I did was I ended up taking pictures of their setup. I took a picture of the back of the monitor, and then I took a picture of their arcade stick, and I said, you know what, I'll check this out when I go home because, something doesn't feel right. So I went and I looked up the monitor. The monitor seems to be good, but the stick that they're using is probably one of the worst sticks you can use.
Which ones do they have? And it's for the stream setup, right? It's like the head-to-head setup that they have there?
Yeah. That head-to-head setup.
And which stick they have there?
I only saw one. It was the Kai version.
The black one? Is that the Hori?
Yeah.
Oh,
the black
God.
and white one.
Yeah, that one's no good.
Yeah, that's like probably the worst stick you could ever have.
Yeah.
But I didn't know it at the time. Like, so I was just playing on it, and then I went and looked, and it has probably one of the most amount of delay you could have. So that just goes back to like, when I was, reading all these posts on junkies and stuff like that. There's a lot of people who are saying the game isn't good, but it's most likely because they're playing on a bad setup. It could be that they have a bad monitor. It could be that they have a bad arcade stick, or it could be they have bad internet, or it could be all three of those things.
Yeah. Because I know I'm not playing like on a great stick in terms of like input lag. Like I would need to get that Brooks board. Where'd you get it from?
I forgot. Like you can put it in, and there's like places you know,
and you hooked it up yourself, like you.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like it's pretty like straightforward putting it in, but depending on how the old PCB was in the stick that you got, it could require soldering, you know, for like the home button and the select button, which is what my stick needed. And I had to kind of like jerry rig it because I paid $80 for the board and I didn't want to fuck up the board trying to solder that shit, you know. So
how'd you jerry rig it?
I posted in the PSN chat, but I have like two buttons. Like my stick, like you can lift up the top panel, like if it was an arcade cab. Like, you know, when a button goes out and he lifts up the panel. That's that. I have the same stick that what's his name, Gavin has. You remember when we went to his house? We played in his basement. The same stick, I have one of those.
That's the VLX, right? That's like the big motherfucking Hori.
Yeah, so the top lifts up. So I just have two buttons in there that's wired to start and select, and if I gotta use it, I just lift it up and press those buttons. It's mad ghetto, but the shit works, and you know, I didn't fuck my board up.
Hey, you saved yourself like about $150 worth of like labor, right? Because that's how much somebody would have charged, like to change the PCB on your shit.
Exactly. And then, you know, like maybe some people don't have a stick. So you got to go figure, you got to buy a stick, you got to buy a board, and then you got to buy someone to do that shit. And, you know, if you don't have soundable buttons and sticks, you got to put that in. It's just going to be money, you know?
This shit adds up quick. Them little buttons, bro. Just like $3.15 a pop. You get eight in the motherfuckers, and you get like a new gate. That shit costs. It ends up being more than you would think, right? Like that shit, it sneaks up on you.
Exactly. But yeah, man. So like that's like a thing. Like you hear all these people on Junkies, and they're like, you know, discrediting the game without posting their setup. Like, you know, if you're gonna say the game is ass, at least let me see your setup and see what you're using.
Maybe that's what we got to do. Like every time somebody bitches about it, just be like, show me your setup, and that'll be like the only comment. Like,
exactly.
Like everybody just says that. Like, what's your setup?
Show me your setup, bro.
Yeah, like who knows? Like they might be fucking playing like on their fucking their 58-inch Panasonic, you know, and like they're and they're like the shit isn't arcade perfect.
Right? Where did they sell me? I'm like, yo, this dude. You know, and I tested it, like, so when my PS4 came 2 days or 3 days before my monitor. So I didn't really have anything. So I hooked it up to my 40-inch Toshiba. That's all I had. I was like, you know what, whatever. That shit was so bad, bro. And then I realized, I was like, I played like that for like a day. I got so many losses on that shit. Like half of my losses is because of that shit. And then like I was like, okay, and then I remembered, I was like, oh shit, I got a computer monitor. I think it was like a Hewlett Packard, and it has like 8 ms of lag. Like it actually, because it's pretty recent, like 2017, 2016. Put that on, it was a world of difference, you know. And then that's when I could like survive a little bit. So my monitor came, and then I got the BenQ, and I tested the BenQ, and it was much better.
That was it, right? You never looked back. Now you're number one.
Never looked back. Nah, it's nothing like that.
Damn. Fucking, and that's all playing Ken?
Most of it's Ken and Ryu. I wasn't trying to pick any other characters on ranked. I was like, fuck that shit.
You don't mess around. I gotta with Remy.
Nah, not on ranked, because like how I like to play him is like I like to do a lot of charges, and if there's like delay and like shank connections, yeah, I can't mess with that shit on delay or laggy connections.
Yeah, I don't know how you came back from Japan not wanting, like, not playing Remy. Because I got back and I wanted to play that nigga. Like, after watching
everybody,
after watching Lucifer do what he did at Co-op Cup, man, I came back. I was practicing my bum ass Remy. That was this is just fun.
No, everybody did. Like, you know, since day one, like one of my strengths with Remy, and like basically all that I'm known for is my charges. You know, like that's my number one thing. Like, I really figured out the charges. But everything else in my game is ass.
You mean with Remy?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I have trouble with charges, with like charge partitioning.
Everybody does. Like I've been doing that shit for like 10 years, and like a lot of people still can't do like 5% of the shit that I can do. Yeah. Like, you know,
like to be fair to myself, I don't practice it that often, but like I kind of know the idea of it, but it's still hard for me to like just execute like on command.
Yeah,
like I always swear like I have like enough like to dash up and Sonic Boom, and I never do. Like,
but also like I don't want to get too into it, but like,
nah, go ahead.
It's a lot of.
I want to.
A lot of it. A lot of it is like rules. Like you have to know the rules. There's like laws, and if you break those laws, then you don't get the charge.
Give me a quick example, like the easiest one you can think of, like the easiest law.
The easiest unspoken law is you can't have two of the same loves on the screen at the same time.
So you mean no two lows is what you're saying, right? So like it needs to be high or low, or you mean the strength?
Yeah. No, it needs to be high or low.
Okay.
Yeah. No. Actually, I'm sorry. I got to correct myself. It's the Sonic Boom itself, like the love itself.
So it can't be two jabs.
Yeah. It can't be on the screen at the same time. So if you want to do like a jab, like, you know, Sonic Boom, you have to you can't do two of them. You have to go to a low kick. So that just runs into like problems sometimes for people when they're like charging. Because like
the love might still be on the screen, like technically, yes, even though it's not, and then.
Yes, exactly, and they don't realize it. Because sometimes, like when it gets off the side of the screen, it's like still there for a little bit. Like it's kind of weird. Like, you know, like the Sonic Boom has a hitbox, and that hitbox is still on the screen, but the love isn't. If that makes sense. So it's like still registering it.
Yeah.
As being on the screen. It's fucking weird. But if you know that and you see that it might still be on the screen, then like you can do things to like buy yourself some time until it goes off the screen.
Right, because it had like charge partitioning is really specific. So it's like if you got like if you split the charge up and then you get it and the love is still on the screen, like is there a way to like you just said there's a way to buy time, right? So how do you buy time?
That's the thing. You gotta. That's the fun part. That's what you gotta figure out. That's where the journey begins, and that's where it comes to like, you know, love, like understanding and liking Remy for what he can do. Is you gotta dive in and try and figure that shit out.
Oh, fuck that! I'll play with Ken.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. You know, fuck that shit. I'm good, man.
No,
a big part of my Third Strike career was spent on Remy, and was like the stupidest shit that I ever did. Like, you know, if I would have picked Ken from like day one, like, you know, it's can't cry over spilled milk, but it was dumb on my part. And I try to tell people, like, you know, they're getting into the game for the first time and they're like, oh, I want to use Q or I want to use Hugo. And I'm like, you know what I'm saying? You need to like get a character that will teach you the game. And like I always go back to like Nika, right? And like good players like yourself. But I just use Nika as an example, and I call it the Nika complex, right? Is this nigga can like pick any character in the game and he will fuck you up. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And you ask yourself, why is that, right? It's because he understands the game to such an extent that it doesn't matter who he picks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like he can pick Remy, and yeah, he can win with Remy, but that doesn't make him a Remy specialist.
Of
Like,
course
you know
not.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Yeah, you know, it's like someone using Yang and they win with Yang without doing mantis slashes. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you're not a Yang specialist. You just understand the game, like, you know.
And he does that with Remy. So how does that relate to like newer players like picking up like like weaker characters or obscure characters? Like what would you advise them to do then? Like how would you recommend they start playing the game?
The like, you know, it's you need to have like two characters. One character that is I wouldn't say top tier, but I guess they just happen to fall into that category, top tier characters. They the best. They teach you like everything basic about the game and everything advanced. You know, and you have like three Shotos you can choose from, right? You have Ryu, you have Ken, and you have Akuma. Each one of their gameplays are like different, and they teach you a little different aspect about the game. But like, use one of those characters and see which one you like the best, and go from there. And then your second character that you have will be that shit character. It could be Necro, it could be Hugo, it could be Q, whatever. And you know, every time you learn something from using that Shoto character, you apply it to that obscure character, and you'll see like huge improvements.
So you recommend people start off with Shotos no matter what?
Yeah, Shotos, because it's just they're overall a good character to learn. I feel, you know, some other people might be different, but I feel like learning a Shoto will ramp up your learning curve much steeper and much faster than learning any other character in the game. How do you feel about that?
I don't know. It depends. Because like for me, I always tell people like when they start playing the game, like I steer them towards either Alex, Urian, or Yun.
Oh wow, no Shotos?
Nah, no Shotos, because like what it means to be a Shoto and Third Strike is really different than what people are like used to.
Mm-hmm.
So like I don't think people are gonna get much out of using Shotos like straight away, because the types of things that you have to do with Shotos to like make them work in this game is really fucking like it's advanced. You know what I mean?
It is, yeah.
Like it's not like just hopping in and like throwing some fireballs, and when they jump you shore you, and like that's it. You know what I mean? Like that's Street Fighter 2 shit. That shit don't work.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like that shit don't work like that. Like in this game, if you want to open somebody up with Ken, you have to like, you know, tick them, and then like low parry their crouch tech, and then like punish correctly. It's like pretty advanced like shit. You know, it's not. It's,
no, you're right.
Whereas with like Alex, you know, his game plan is really simple. You know, he has a command throw. He hits really hard. He has a lot of health. So you can't really go wrong with him. And then
yeah, Alex is good too. Yeah, definitely.
And then with Urian, it's more the same thing with Urian. It's like with Urian and Young, they have this they have like a subsystem, you know what I mean, that like the opponent can't avoid. You know, they have like Ganesian, and they have an Aegis Reflector, and like those are just things that your opponent can't avoid. You know what I'm saying? Like they have to play around it no matter what. So
no,
like
that's true.
So like that, I feel like that would make somebody's time a lot easier, you know, playing the game.
Yeah.
You know,
Whereas
with Ken, like if you can't, like, think about it, right? Like for me, when I started playing, like I didn't open anybody up with Ken for like fucking months, dude. Like it took super long for me to like land super against like good players. You know what I'm saying?
But you know, like, but see, also like with Ken, you have to learn stuff. Like for me, the basic stuff like is, if you look at it, like not boiling the game down to anything like intricate, one of the number one things that new players need to learn is I feel how to be safe, less risk, right? And if you can use your supers in a way that promotes less risk, you'll be a foot in the door in the game in general with any character you use.
Right.
So like hit confirms is like huge. Like I feel like people need to learn them, and like I've been talking to like a few people and players, and it's not like, and I don't think they really understand what like hit confirms are. Like some people, but
like how? What do you mean?
I don't know. Like some people look at hit confirms like, I thought that it was going to hit you, and my medium kick hit you, and the super came out, so I hit confirmed it. I'm like, that's not like hit confirm. Like
Yeah.
It's more like you have to do an attack, right? And you don't know whether the opponent will block or not. And then you see the hit, and then you react to it, and then do super. It's kind of like a skewed way of looking at it, how they see it. It's not really like they're not really reacting to the hit,
right.
And they're doing stuff like crouch medium kick with Ken, and they're trying to hit confirm that. Like you can, but that really. Shit is like super hard. Yeah, like it's like you have to be like fucking god tier. Like the window to cancel out of that shit is so fucking small.
Yeah, like you're not doing that online consistently.
Yeah, exactly.
And like even offline for me, like there are days where I can do it, but like it just depends on the day. Like there'll be days where I wake up and like I can hit confirm every low medium kick, like actually confirm it, and then there's some days where I wake up and I can't do it. So yeah, it's not something that like you can rely on, I don't think.
But like with Ken, like you can do like short, crouch medium punch, far standing medium punch, his target combo, like those things can be hit confirmed with Ken. And I don't see a lot of players online doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And for the players that know me, like I can hit confirm online in some of the worst conditions, like and and I can translate that to offline in my gameplay. It's not easy, but like if someone could learn that, that's like the first step to playing safe,
right?
Which a lot of people neglect about this game. They take it for granted, but yeah, I never really thought about those other three characters that you mentioned. I think that's actually pretty good. Like Venkabot, he uses Alex.
Yeah. There's something to that, like he could take more damage, like he can make more mistakes and not lose with Alex. Yeah. Same thing with Urian. And like, the big thing is that he has a command throw, right? So like you don't have to open somebody up to open them up. You know what I mean? Like like you could just command throw them if you think they're gonna block. It's not like with a character like Ken or Ryu where you have to like know they're gonna block and like bait them into trying to press a button, and then you have to parry it. You know what I mean? That's kind of advanced. You know what I mean? Especially nowadays. Definitely. I think starting with Ken is bad advice for people who are just coming into the game.
That's true.
Because everybody just is so comfortable against Ken that unless you're really sick, you're not gonna like touch anybody with that character.
Yeah, right.
Motherfuckers.
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. People are like, oh, Ken's god tier. Like people don't understand, right? Like the shit that you have to go through with Ken to fucking like it's fucking crazy.
Yeah. Like it's
so many people are just like good against Ken to begin with because there's so many Kens out there, right?
Right.
And then all his technical shit with his hit confirms and like just so much shit, man. And fucking his combos like car DP, and you can do EX Tatsu dash DP, then car DP, and like all this shit. Like people don't like know, like you know what I'm saying? They're just like, oh, Ken's top tier, and apparently in Japan, like I think they moved him out of top 3, like I've been hearing. Is that true? I'm not too sure.
It depends on who you ask, but I know that Chun-Li is be like between Chun-Li and Yun, right? And then people feel like it's like Makoto, Dudley, Ken, because like Ken, he loses to Chun-Li even though he has like a really good matchup with Chun-Li out of the other characters. He still loses to her, right? And then any character can kind of lose to Makoto, like in a vacuum. He has a pretty decent matchup with the twins, but then he kind of loses to Dudley. So it's like Ken doesn't have like favorable matchups across the top tiers. So that might be why, they don't view him as favorably. And then it just depends, right? Because if you're playing Deshikin, right, of course you're going to think Ken is top 3. You know what I mean? But if you're not playing any like really good Ken players most of the time, then you're going to not think that he's that good. You're going to think that he's pretty weak. So like all those Tokyo guys don't have to deal with Deshikin, exactly. Like on a daily basis because he lives so far away. So,
yep.
So that might be why their opinion of Ken is a bit skewered. But I don't think he's broken. Like I don't think he's as good as American people like think he is or like say that he is anyway. I don't think he's that good. He's just a really solid, strong character that usually is being manned by somebody who's really good at the game. So they're just gonna make you look stupid. You know what I mean? It's not like Chun-Li, where like a whack Chun-Li can like almost win every round. You know what I mean?
Pull something off, squeak something out. So let me ask you this: like, I when I was in Japan, I talked to this player for a long time, and we had a good conversation about what do you choose to do? Do you play the player or do you play the character when you get into matches?
Okay.
So, what's your take on that when you approach a match? We'll say, because you gotta kind of like narrow it down. We'll say we'll go into tournament. You come up to a tournament. Do you decide to play the player or do you decide to play the character?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
My fault. I think like in tournament especially, it's best to, if you don't know the other person, right, you have to play the matchup. But I think that if you know the opponent, like you have to implement the things that you know about that person. You know what I mean? Like straight away, like you have to play the person. If you're very familiar with them. But I think like as a rule of thumb, it's probably the best, like I think the most successful way to play is playing the character and then making like little adjustments as you go. It's not like this
clear cut.
It's not clear cut, and I think it just depends on each person. Like against somebody like, let's say Ahmed, right, who likes to parry a lot, you have to play him. You know what I mean? Like you can't play the matchup because he plays Chun-Li, unlike the way other people play with Chun-Li.
Yeah, definitely.
So I don't know. Like, what did you guys discuss?
Well, he was just very adamant on playing the player. But he says like
who was it? Who was it?
Genki.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, he plays Alex. Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah. Yeah. So he was very adamant on playing the player opposed to the character.
Yeah.
But he would say that like you obviously have to know character to character stuff. So like for instance, like if we're playing like Ken, right?
Yeah.
And you do like the opponent is Ken and he does a sweep and he whiffs it or you block it, you have to know that you can punish with the sweep. like in the basic of situations, you can punish with sweep.
Right.
So that's like knowing the character, like playing the character, but but basic stuff. But when you start going, like, I guess, deeper into, like, I guess, like, character specific setups, like, he feels that you should, like, by then you should know the opponent enough to not have to go that route.
I see.
Yeah. So, but like, it's just, you speak to different players and they say different things. Like, I talked to Yi about it, and that's always been one of my things that I struggle with. Like, do I play the player or do I play the character? And like some certain situations, like I feel like with the twins, the twins, there's no playing the player really, because like, all of them are the same. They do the same thing. Like in that matchup, you have to play the character.
Right.
You have to like fucking take care of his dive kicks and like, all the shit that the 1-2-3s. You have to know how to like red period or like stuff like that. But it was just a real interesting concept for me. Like, do you play the player or do you play the character? It was always.
Well, I mean, like in that same, like with that same idea, right? We have, like, I remember playing or talking to Issei about this, and he's one that feels really comfortable playing against MOV because he knows like how he likes to counter dive kicks, right? So in like in that instance, right, like dive kicks are the primary way that a young player gets their damage, right? Or at least asserts themselves in the matchup. So you have to know, like, if you know how your opponent deals with it, then you have to approach the matchup that way. You know what I mean? Because like he knows that MOV doesn't like to parry dive kicks so much as he likes to anti-air them with like he likes to air-to-air dive kicks with Chun-Li. Like he'll air-to-air medium kick, or he'll like stand roundhouse stuff it. But what he really likes to look for is like, when the dive kick whips and Chun-Li does like jab into super.
Yeah.
Like that's what he looks for. So Issei approaches it like, I know he's gonna be looking for whiff dive kick into throw. You know what I mean? Like that's his main way of dodging dive kicks. So he'll just do like the medium kick dive kick that'll land right on the tip of Chun-Li's like ankle, and then make him guess. So like at the very last second, it looks like it's gonna whiff, but it doesn't. It clips him, and then he makes him guess right there. And like I've seen him play against MOV, and he makes it look really easy, right? But like every other Yun, all the other godlike Yuns has so much trouble with MOV's Chun-Li. So I think that's just one instance of like what you're talking about, where like you have to like really know the opponent. Or at least like use what you have against them, in those instances. Like it can't just be like you're stuck trying to do like character specific tech like the whole time. You know what I mean? Because like some people just don't do that shit, right? Like it's but I do think it is beneficial. Like you gotta know all the little things.
Yeah, definitely.
Because there's gonna be moments where like butt cheeks get tight, and then they're gonna revert. You know what I mean? Like I remember, like I played this Oro player at a Ranbat. I forgot which one it was, but like the point is that like in the beginning of the match, like he threw like a fireball with Oro, and I Kara DP through it. And he didn't throw a fireball for like the rest of the match. It went to the third round, like last round, last everything. And then right when we were both kind of in the range to get chipped, he threw it out again.
Yes.
And I card DP'd that shit. So it's like, it's one of those things where it's good to like put those character specific things in your opponent's head, because then you could change how they approach the matchup. right? Because it's like, fuck, if he can Kara DP through my fireball, what else does he know about the matchup? Like, I can't fuck with this guy. You know what I mean? Like you can't just throw standing medium kicks, right? Because I'm a low fierce it, or I'm gonna reversal super it on block. You know, you can't just do these. You know, like you can't fuck around at that point, right? If your opponent shows you something like that strong so quick, like it kind of heightens you up. But then again, like that's all part of the Yomi, right? Because some people are fucking stubborn, dude. Like, they'll get hit with that shit and be like, all right, I'm just gonna do it again.
Or they don't. Or they don't. I think it is they don't want to believe and they fucking try to test you. You know, like mutant, like, you know, so like. I guess like I was telling, like, I guess it was Denges that I could like DP dashes on reaction.
Yeah.
And he didn't believe it. But you know, at least I have Mutant to vouch for me because we were out playing at IFM on Friday, and Mutant must have ate like 6 or 7 DPs from him dashing. Like, you know. So like, you know, it's like those type of things, like when opponents see that, there's just something about it. And I feel that's part of the Umi too. Like, you know, it's like, you know, and I try to base like some of my gameplay around that, where I try to do stuff that players can't quite understand and they chalk it up to luck. And you don't do it too often because they'll start to see that it isn't luck and you really are doing what you're saying that you could do, or like what you just did is like true, like, you know. And so you kind of put it in your like your back card and how you're like your back pocket, and like how you were saying that, like because I kind of do the same thing. Like I use like the start of the match to kind of like get a quick draft of the opponent. And then when I see his weaknesses are, I will try and kind of like not exploit it right away, but kind of hold it to later, because as you were saying, when butt cheeks get tight, they somehow the human mind and like the subconscious will always revert back to what they feel comfortable doing.
Right.
And then, you know, I try to save it for that, you know. But it was funny hearing you say that, because like, you know, I would think the same thing also. But
well, we don't just come from Street Fighter, right? You know.
Yeah, no, there's many forms of discipline that plays into this whole thing.
Right. Like I think the reason why I approach matches the way that I do is because of boxing. You know, of like I did it for a little bit in high school, and like when you like, that was the reason why I started playing Third Strike, was because, you know, a lot of Third Strike, at least in America, is like whiff punishing, right? Which is basically like what, you know, you can do in boxing. You know, you could, you know, counter punch people. So I think like I took that approach when I first started, and I like really ran with it, and like that like shaped the way, like my philosophy about the game and like about how to like win matches and stuff. And, you know, it's obviously like evolved since then, but it's still like at the core of like what, you know, like how I play in tournament. You know, like when I play like casuals, I play really reckless because I'm trying to adopt that kind of like that little bit of play style in me.
Yeah.
But in tournament, like I, you know, like my style is to just wait, you know what I mean, and like
capitalize on the moments.
Yeah, make my opponent like show me like how they plan to approach me, you know, and it works.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm trying to adopt a little bit so that I can flip the switch, you know, like be able to just like go like super offensive, like when I need to.
Yeah.
'Cause I feel like I lost that in my gameplay.
Yeah, no, I've seen it firsthand, like, you know, because like a long time ago, like I guess when, like, I've known you for a while, but I guess when I really started like playing you more was I think it was like one time we like played, and I think I might not have played you for like probably like a year or something like that. So in that time, like I was learning ground game, and there wasn't many people that could like give me competition in that aspect of like ground game. So I remember like I played you and I got like mauled, like, you know, like, and I couldn't understand it. I was like, the only other person that did that was like Nika. And maybe like Ahmed if he used Chun or something, but it's Chun, right?
All right. Okay, yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, but yeah, it was like unique, and I was like, fuck, like, you know, and so I've like seen your game evolve. Like, you know, you used to be very like hardcore on that, and I feel like your game's going more towards Deshikin, like, or set play kind of, like,
yeah,
you know,
I think it's because I think it's just because I'm trying to incorporate that you have to like hyperbolize it, you know, like you have to like go
definitely
to the other side of the spectrum, so that when you eventually like deviate back to like what's normal, you bring some of that with you, you know. Like if I just try to dabble in it, then I won't be able to like get it. Yeah, I won't be able to absorb it and like be able to execute, you know, those things that I need, right? Because I felt that there were moments, right, like in Japan, where I would completely out neutral somebody like the whole fucking round, and like they would be like maybe one hit away from death, like one like parry into like a hard punish away from like dying, and I would stick with the neutral game, and they would land one hit on me, and then it'll be some set play shit where I would lose after that. So I realized that I needed to add that like component to it, because I needed to be able to finish out rounds in like a more efficient way that's not taking away so much energy, you know, because like what set play does really is that it allows the player the opportunity to let the game play for him. You know what I mean? It's like I do this super with Ken, and now I'm doing this setup that's ambiguous, and I don't have to think about it. I just have to react to whatever side I end up landing on. You know what I mean? So
yeah, exactly.
So in that sense, that's what you're doing. Like you're allowing the game to play for you. It's like option selecting. Like that's what option selects are. You know, like you do one input and then the game does the rest, depending on what the situation is, on what ends up transpiring. So I kind of like wanted to adopt that. So I've been doing that a lot more, and I feel like, I don't know, maybe after DTN, I'm gonna try to like dial it back and see how, you know, I can incorporate both. You know, like try to incorporate that like that flipping of the switch back into like a more neutral, like centralized kind of game.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's exactly like, you know, how my direction is too. Like, you know, that's just how I learn, is that I have to be pinholed, or like, you know, kind of like centralized or focused on one thing, and I give my all to it. You know, that way I can like learn faster. It's a more efficient way of learning.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm learning right now. Not really like set play.
Yeah.
You know, some people say my ground game and stuff is very good, and like I need to move on and stuff, but I feel like, you know, it's still lacking a little bit. Like my decision making and like some choices that I make at certain key times aren't right, or I don't react like, you know, right away.
Yeah.
But you know, when I feel like I get there, you know, I will move on, because like, you know, set play is like important. You know, for me, like, you know, just where I am in my game, how I see it, is that I see it as the icing and not the cake.
Right.
You know, but where you are in your game, like, you know, you've seen much more than me, you've experienced much more, and you're much better than me. So like, you know, you see it a little bit different. No. But you see it like you see it like differently, and you know, I respect it. But you know, at the time, like I played you, like, you know, I really saw how good your ground game was, and there wasn't many people showing me stuff like that at that time that I was learning it. The only other person was like Nika and like a couple others, but it was refreshing to say the least. You know,
because it's a pure way to play the game, right? It feels
it's
like
honest.
pure.
It's honest, you know.
And here, so some other players like they just fucking jump in all day. Nah, I get it,
Yeah.
dude. But like there were
Yeah.
moments, right, like in our set that shit was super frustrating because like you would hit me and I'm like close to death and like you have more life than I do and then you back away. It's
Yeah.
like, why are you giving me a chance? Like you gotta try something, like to open the opponent up, at that point. You
Hmm.
can't play it too safe to the chest.
Yeah. That's another thing that I've been working on is like, is capitalizing on those moments and trying to like seal the deal, so to speak. But like a lot of those opportunities, like when I find myself and I have like an opponent in the corner and then like you see me back up, like it's just to like it's kind of like a cover all bases type thing, but sometimes I back up too much, like and I give you too much breathing room.
Right.
So yeah, so I just need to like fine tune it. Kang says the same thing too. He's like, yo, you got my back on the ropes, but you let me off, like
Mm-hmm.
But it'll work itself out though. But I do see some things I gotta work on my gameplay.
I mean, and like when you switched over to Ken, like were like the results immediate? Because like you played Dudley too for a while, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and you switched away from Dudley, right? Like to go to Ken, or were you like Remy and Dudley, and then you switched to Ken?
Yeah, Remy. So when I switched to Ken, I saw some improvement because I was already good with hit confirms.
Mm-hmm.
From because I would play Dudley online, and this was back in the original Xbox. What was that? Which anniversary was that? The first anniversary they did.
Is that 15th? Is it 15th? Might have been
Some
15th.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah, 15th. The PS2, right? PS2, Xbox.
PS2. Yep, PS2 and original Xbox.
Yeah.
So the connections were super bad. So I learned to hit confirm online in bad connections.
Mm.
So,
So when you go offline, it's like butter.
It was easy. It was easy. It was so easy. It was fucking stupid. So transitioning to Ken, it wasn't that much harder. Like I could do target combo, no problem, like medium punch, hard punch, and then if it hits, go into super. Crouch medium punch, I picked up pretty quickly because the timing for crouch medium punch with Ken is similar to Dudley's toward medium kick. And if you see toward medium kick hit with Dudley, you can go in. So I would do that a lot. So the timing was similar. I think it was a little bit tighter on Dudley's than on Ken's. So I picked that up pretty quickly. I just had a little bit of trouble with Ken's far standing medium punch. That gave me a little bit of trouble. But it wasn't really the hit confirms that got me. It was just his overall gameplay, like how to play clean and efficient with him, because he has like so many tools to deal with so many situations that it really forces you to be on blast the whole fucking round.
Right.
So that's what really was my struggle, was like just decision making and knowing when to use what tool with Ken. Some other people who might just be starting out, like their number one problem will be hit confirms. And I see that with like a lot of the Ken players. I hardly see any Ken players doing hit confirms. It's like atrocious.
It's hard.
Atrocious.
It's hard, man.
It is. Even Denges, like fucking like, he, as good of a player he is, he struggles with hit confirms. So that should tell you that this shit's not easy.
Yeah, I mean, and he came from Denjin Ryu, so his confirms were parry. You know what I mean? Like that's how you would confirm. Like that's how you confirm hits with Ryu. Because like when you play with Denjin, like you don't have like short into Shinku. You have to do like parry, DP into something, or like parry and then punish. So that's probably why he like struggles with it. But it's ongoing, dude, and it almost never ends, you know, because like the thing about 3S that like other like people who play other games don't really understand is that like at the highest level, it's always a little sloppy, you know, because the things that you execute are not easy to execute, and then the level of the opponent makes it even harder to execute. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like if you watch Co-op Cup, like those matches look fucking ugly, dude. But it's hype, you know? It's hype because niggas is missing so much shit. You know, like people are missing so much shit that you're not used to, you know, that you shouldn't miss at that level. But because everybody's playing at such like a high, you know, a high level in a high stress situation, you know, high level environment, like they end up missing like the most basic shit, and then that adds to the hype. But then it just shows that like there really is no end with this game, you know what I mean? Like there is
So
no
good.
end point. There's always so much that you can continue to improve, like no matter how good you are, you know, like there's always a facet of your game that you can seek to improve. And that's probably one of the things that I want like people who are just like starting or who have just started like maybe with OE to understand is that, you know, they're not alone in maybe how hard the game is to access at like a high level. Like they're not alone in it, and it's not impossible, but like people shouldn't feel bad about like maybe hitting a wall, you know what I mean? Because it's really easy to hit a wall in this game, especially when you're like you go online and you're playing a bunch of people who are like have so much experience with the game. That shit is
definitely.
that shit is disheartening.
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard, man. But it also comes down to the good players too. Like, you know, you know, if a good player is going to be an asshole and be like, yo, you know, you fucking suck and shit. But like, you know, as better players, it's up to us to like, you know, help other players out. Like, you know, but then the other side is that those players have to be open to what is, you know, what is being said to them also, you know, because, you know, this is competition. At the end of the day, right? We all want to be number one, and fuck you for trying to give me advice. But you know, if you want to get better, right, you have to humble yourself, right? And a lot of these players don't know how to be humble. It's because they don't have access to, I guess, such, you know, good players, so they don't know where they fall in the pecking order. Right. You know, like someone like myself, I've played like tons of great players, right? You know, so my ass has been humbled like many years ago. You know what I'm saying?
No, I get it.
So like, you know, I can approach a match differently than most people. Like I can go into a match and get fucked up, but I can look at it as I'm learning from it instead of being like, oh, I got raped, you know?
I mean, I touched on it with ShotoCon too, is that like fucking like you can't account for everybody's like goal with the game, and some people really just like turn it on to like just play online and, you know, troll and just, you know, just try to have fun, and like not everybody's looking to take it to tournament. So like it's also good for players, for the good players who are trying to give out advice, to like recognize those people, you know, like to be like, okay, like this guy is, you know, he's not really trying to like go to tournaments and like, you know, improve on like a really like good level. So there's no point in like trying to, you know, not waste your time, but like waste your energy in trying to convince them that what they're doing is wrong. You know, like whereas some other people, like they look for the advice and they want it. So I don't know, I think, you know, you have to be wise with your energy and not dedicate it to people who are clearly just playing online and just like trying to have a good time. You know, maybe maybe just show them something cool, but not like, because nobody really wants to hear like critiques about themselves, you know, like not unless you're actively trying to improve, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh man. So Canada Cup, you going?
Yeah. If that's what it looks like, that's the plans. You know, things could change, but I think that's my next on the list. Actually, no, DTN, Canada Cup, Summer Jam, Winter Brawl.
I don't know if there's a Summer Jam this year.
What's
I'm
that?
not sure. I'm not sure if they're gonna have Summer Jam this year.
Oh wow. Yeah, whatever.
You going back to Coop?
PA. Oh yeah,
Free, right?
that's next. Yeah, that's next on the list too.
Yeah.
Co-op Cup, but I have a lot of stuff to work out on my game before I go back there. But yeah, that's it was very enlightening going, and hopefully I can make every year from here on out until they no longer do it. But it was an experience.
Yeah, I might go for like less time this year, but I'm still gonna go.
Uh-huh.
I'll probably end up going for maybe like a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah. I think I went last time for like 11 or 12 days, and I felt like that was enough for the time of year. It being winter, I felt like that was enough.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so much to see out there and do. I want to go. My goal is I would love to go like 2 times a year.
Yeah, dude, me too. Like I've only been able to go in the winter. I would like to try to go. I mean, I would ideally. I like the fall, but like that's like too close to winter. Like it's too close to Co-op Cup, so that probably won't work. So I might have to settle for that muggy ass summer that they have.
I heard that shit's brutal.
Yeah,
but the scenery is very good. I heard so.
Right. And I do want to travel a little bit more around, like not just be in Tokyo the whole time.
Yeah.
Go
yeah. So a lot of players are like, I hear a lot of people saying that they want to go to Co-op Cup. What are your takes on that? Should they at least wait until they get to a certain skill level first and then go, or should they just be like, fuck it and dive right in?
Nah, dive right in, dude. Like Japan isn't like Bosnia, like
Bosnia.
no offense to Bosnia, but there's mad shit to do in Japan, so like you can go and just enjoy like the community and just like the moment that Co-op Cup provides for people who like the game. And I think that like there's no better way to inspire yourself to try to get better at the game than to just going and experiencing Co-op Cup and like seeing like how those players feel when they make top 8, and they're up there and they're all fighting for those fucking t-shirts.
Yeah, right. Those t-shirts.
Yeah, they're fighting their hearts out for those t-shirts, dude. And there's like nothing, more I think inspirational, if you're, for people. I think people come back from Co-op Cup just wanting to get better, like they come back hungry. And I think
I came back super hungry, man.
Yeah, and I think that happens at every skill level, like
nice.
And I've seen it. I think people have improved, from just January. It's only been like 6 months.
Yeah,
it's only been half a year, and I see so much improvement in everybody, including you. Like you've gotten way fucking better. Like, and it happened even before Co-op Cup, but I think that sped it up.
Yeah, that it did.
Just grinding
because
out
just that was my whole thing, because I guess it's like it depends what you want from the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like my reasons for going out to Co-op Cup was I wanted to use it as a like a way of like a training session, like a hyperbolic chamber, if you must,
Word.
So I was like, my main thing was I was going to use TFC as a guide, kind of, to a gauge, to see how good I am. And tournament aside, I did, personally, I felt that I did better than expected in casuals.
Yeah.
Even if it was just casuals, I was playing on the cab, and I was getting a lot more wins than I thought I was going to get.
Mm-hmm.
And then the tournament came around, and I got like top 25. I think That's and tough. Shotokan. Yeah, me and Shotokan tied for top 25.
That's tough, man, because that tournament, like, from like first place all the way down to like 32nd, like top 32, like all of those names are like in top 8s, like around every other tournament throughout the year. You know what I mean? So that was like a really stacked tournament. You know, like there wasn't
Yeah.
any freebies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was a really, 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 at all these years I've been going to tournaments, that was probably the best that I've been to, aside from Co-op Cup.
Yeah.
But you know, I was like, if I go to this tournament and I get fucking mauled and I'm like out of the top like 50 or whatever, like you know what I'm saying? Like,
but like even
I'm
then,
I'm
it's not it. Like right, like it's like let's say like you meet Yakun first round, and then like you meet somebody who might have gotten like upset, but who's still really good and he beats you. You know what I mean? Like even though you got like 72nd, I think it's more about how you felt while you were playing, and like how the matches actually went. And casuals, I think it was all encompassing, like that whole weekend. Like it wasn't just the result. The result gives it like a nice
that was
number
the
to
icing.
it.
That was the icing. Yeah. It was like okay.
But I think like you just being in that like really competitive environment where there was like 5 cabs and everybody's just trying to fucking win and stay on the cab. And like you managed to like hold your own and like stay on the cab, quite a few times for a few win streaks, and you were able to take some games off of the Japanese players, and just feeling good, and playing and like playing with that flow. I think that got you like going like what, like Japan is doable, like like it'll be worth it if you went.
Yeah, because I was like, if I go to TFC and I get mauled, if I go to Japan, it's gonna be worse. And like if I go there and I get like mauled, like you know what I'm saying, like you can get like mauled and you not know why it happened. And
right.
Like if you don't know why you just lost, that's a bad thing. Like
that's the bad kind of mauling, right?
That's the worst. Like so like as like what I took away was like, all right, I got that placing top 25, so like I can at least go over there and be able to learn at an efficient way, and that was my thing. Like I went there, and even though like I lost certain matches, I was able to learn from it because I could critique myself while I was playing and look and be like, oh shit, I did that wrong. Wow, look what he did. Like that was fucking optimal. That was, like I was able to look at it in an analytical way just because I feel like my gameplay progressed to that level before I got there.
Yeah.
Which was beneficial for me. And then when I got back, I was able to sit down. I like sat down for a week and I was like, I had all this shit in my mind. I was like, oh fuck, I gotta learn this, I gotta learn that, I gotta do this. And and then it's different than going there and you having to come back and figure out why you lost.
Right. And
so
and isn't it something else like when you come back from over there and you play, like players who aren't on the level that you played over there, and the game just seems so much slower. It's like everything seems crazy. Like, it's crazy.
It's the only way to put it, man. It's like, it's everyone needs to experience it, but it's just some people need to like I feel like no matter who goes over there, they'll be happy because even if they're not happy playing Third Strike, they'll find something to be happy about because it's Japan. It's just so lovely.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah, man, it's something everyone should put on their to-do list.
Yeah, for sure. I agree, especially if you like Third Strike, right?
Yes, definitely. So is that a yes for DTN, or will you be there?
Yeah, I'm going to DTN. Are you going to Random Select?
Yes, I will be at Random Select as well.
All right.
So I should be going to DTN Friday.
Yeah.
And then Saturday and Sunday, I should be doing Random Select as well.
Yeah.
And then...
Yeah, well, we keep practicing, in the meantime.
Yes, definitely.
Real quick.
Gotta stay sharp.
Word. So before we sign off, right? What's like one, like your high school yearbook? Like right next to your graduating photo, you had like the quote. Like everybody has kind of like a quote that they would put like under their photo. What would be your quote for encapsulating Third Strike? Like, what's a mantra? Or like or like a one sentence philosophy that you want to share with everybody.
I don't know. I don't know. If you love Third Strike, like, just be humble and, like, you know, just dive in headfirst into the game, and you will blossom.
I don't think you have enough drinks in you, because what I was expecting for you to say was stay solid, nigga.
Yeah, right. Stay solid. Don't fuck up. You know, keep it going, man. Keep it going.
Oh, big shout to Chris.
Chris, man. IFM, be there. Random Select tournament coming up.
Word.
A lot of good players showing up for that.
Word. I got it.
Rockerai, fucking, you'll be there. Frankie, Mutant.
Word.
But Kyo's coming down. Kang's gonna be there as well.
Word.
So
it's gonna be a good tournament. Can't wait.
Yes. Well, thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you for coming on.
Yes, it's been a real great podcast. I like what you're doing. You know, with all the videos that you're doing, where you're like, you know, diving into certain top players, especially in Japan, their gameplay, and, you know, giving insight to the new players. It's a good look,
Word.
especially for the community.
Appreciate it.
It couldn't have come at a better time.
Word. Good looks. I appreciate that. You trying to play again or no? Or are you gonna go to sleep?
Nah, sir. I got. It's only 10:33. I'll be on. So
all right.
Hit me up.
Oh, we in there. All right. So I'm
send that invite first to death.
Oh, it's done. Oh, it's